Hello, welcome back to Cooking with Chris. And what we're doing this week is we're going to use the Thermomix, and I'm going to make a dish that is extremely popular in Malaysia, Indonesia and also Singapore. It's called a beef rendang, and it's a dish that usually takes a very long time to cook. This is cut down a little bit by using the Thermomix. You still have to finish it off in the oven. You could also finish it off on the stovetop if you wanted. But what we're going to do is do all the preparation in the Thermomix. I love the Thermomix, it's a great machine. I've not been using it enough, so I've decided for the next few recipes, I'm going to use this bad boy. And we're going to get some really nice recipes out of it. So copy what I do, follow along. If you haven't got a Thermomix, tough luck. No, I didn't mean that. If you haven't got a Thermomix, you can probably do it another way. Everybody else does. So follow along, see what I do, and let's make a great video. See you in a minute. First thing I'm going to do is to put some peanut oil into this dish, around about a tablespoonful. This is so that I can brown the meat, and the meat I'm using is this extra lean diced beef. It's already cut up, and you just put that into the pan and then just gently brown it, and then just move it about in the pan. Let's say not too high. There we are. That's going to take a little while to brown. So meanwhile, while that's going on, what I've done is I've switched on the oven and I'm preheating it to 180 degrees, ready to put this in the oven when I've done the rest of the process. Next part of the process is we go over to the Thermomix and start putting all the ingredients in. You'll see all the instructions in the biography at the end of the video. So the first thing I'm going to do is to put in some coriander seeds. Then I'll add in some cumin seeds, fennel seeds, and then I'll put in some sea salt. And you can measure it all as you go along if you want, but what I've done is I've measured it before, put it in pots so it makes it a lot quicker. Now I'm going to put in some peppercorns. I'll now put the lid on, go to the next part of the process, and just for 15 seconds I'm just going to blitz this up, and it tells you what speed to do it on the dial there. So let's carry on and do that. All the time we're over on the Thermomix, this is still gently browning, and I just come over to it now and again and just turn the meat over so that it gets cooked evenly all round. Otherwise you'll end up with red bits and brown bits, and you'll end up poisoning everybody by giving them the red bits. Might taste nice though. Next thing, we'll come over to a Thermomix. We then transfer all this to a bowl, and then we set it aside. So that's what it looks like when it's all ground up and it's all been blitzed into that amount there. And I'm just going to put this into a bowl, and then we'll set that aside. God, that smells spicy. There we are. And just transferring that into the bowl and set that aside for a little bit later. And I need to cut up 240 grams of onions, just peel them and cut them into quarters. There we are, very simple, nothing fancy. You don't have to cut them into small pieces, just like that. And then, sound like Tommy Cooper then, just like that. And then just peel them off and do the same to all of them. What I'll do now is I'll put the quartered onions into the Thermomix, and hopefully I've got roughly the amount it says on there. Yeah, it's asking for 240. By the time I've cut the skin off, it's come up at around about 230. It's not going to make an awful lot of difference to the taste, so we'll go from there. Now what I'm going to do is cut up some garlic cloves. Just get your garlic cloves, pop them in there. They're whole. I'm going to cut up some lemongrass. Here's our lemongrass, and it comes like that, and you've got a white part and a green part. What we're using is just the white part on this, so you trim off the end. They're quite hard to cut, these things, so just trim that off, and you don't have to chop it in lots of little bits. Because you're using a Thermomix, just go down to where the green bit is, chop it there, and then just chop it in half again, so you end up with 4 bits. I'm going to use 4 chilies because I like it a little bit spicy. If you don't like chili, don't put it in. Right, what I'm doing now is I'm going to put in some ginger, fresh root ginger, and I've cut them into 2 centimetre round pieces. And I'm going to put round about 15 grams in there. Now what I'm going to do is add some galangal. That's what galangal is. It's quite a weird looking thing. Looks a bit alien. And what I'll do is I'll just scrape the outer skin off of that, and then it's ready to use. So we cut that in, like the ginger, and we cut it into rounds. Now this is as tough as old boots, this stuff. It really is hard. So make sure you've got a sharp knife and be careful with your fingers, otherwise you'll end up chopping them off, because this stuff really is tough. Right, what I'm doing now is I'm going to add the water so that when you mix all the ingredients that are dry, it will take it up to a paste. And as you can see, it measures the water for you and tells you what you're doing. I'm just going to mix this up for 10 seconds, and we'll just turn that round. Goes on to speed 6, makes a hell of a noise. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cook this for 5 minutes, and when I'm cooking this, I've got it on a setting at 120 degrees, so it's giving it a bit of heat in there. It's quite high, and then this is just going to do its job, and it's going to cook away. What I've done now is I come back over to the beef while the Thermomix is doing its thing, and that is now ready. You can see that that has now gone to a brown colour rather than red, and that's then ready for the next process. So I'll now just turn the hob off. Right, this is just coming up to the end of the process on the Thermomix for getting all those ingredients together that we've put in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this into the beef, mix it all together, and then we'll put in some coconut cream, the spices that we mixed up before, and then once we've got it up to a simmer, we'll then put in the tamarind. Tamarind is really sour, but it's an essential part of this. And here we go. So I'll now take that off, and I'll put this into here. Shut up, you. This is the onion mixture that we've just cooked up in the Thermomix, and we'll put it in with that. And I'm going to turn this back on, because what I want to do is to bring this up to a boil and then to a simmer. So get all those onions in there and mix those around. Won't take long for this to get up to a boil. All in there. Make sure you get everything out. A lot of goodness there, you don't want to waste it. Now I'm going to put in the coconut milk and stir that around as well. The coconut milk has just taken the temperature of the dish down, so we've got to wait for it to come up to the boil. I'm now putting in the spice mix that we made earlier. Here's one I've done earlier, like Blue Peter. As I said before, they love it in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Thailand. It's a world favourite, and it really has got a lovely kick of flavour. But you must make sure that you cook this long enough, first of all, for it to get tender, and secondly, you want it to dry out. That consistency at the moment just isn't right. It's like a runny soup. But after it's been in the oven for about 2.5 hours, it will get really dry. Now, that's come up to a simmer, and I'm now going to add in the tamarind. This is the really sour element of it, and it's essential, and it will gradually get darker the longer it cooks. Okay, I'm now going to pop my lid on that, and then get the lid on properly. Turn this off, and I'm going to transfer this to the oven, and it's going to go in the oven for about 2 to 2.5 hours. What you want to do is check it all the time, every half an hour, have a look, see how it's doing, give it a stir, make sure it's not catching on the bottom, and then if it needs it at the end of the cooking process, you can take the lid off to dry it out a bit more. So I'm now going to put this into the oven. That's been preheating, it's got up to 180 degrees. There we are, and I'll see you in 2.5 hours. Okay, our beef rendang is ready. You can take it out of the oven and see what it looks like. There you can see that that has dried up. What I did, after it had about 2 hours, I took the lid off and put it back in the oven, same temperature, and I just wanted it to dry out a little bit, because as I said before, The beef rendang is a dry curry. And there we are. I'm going to serve that up and then we'll try it and give you an opinion. And I'll invite Jack round again, as we did in the last video, and we'll taste this. Hopefully it won't burn his lips like he did before. And we're going to have this with some rice, which I've pre-cooked, and I'll serve that in a minute. So let's try this out. So come on round, Jack. Here's a spoon. Don't burn yourself.
Right.
I didn't think I'd have to teach you how to eat food at your age.
Wow, it smells amazing.
It does, doesn't it? Now this will be a little...
It's going to be hot.
It's very hot. It's going to be a little bit spicy because it's got 4 chilies in it. But that's how I like my food. It's hot. Here we go. Go on. That falls apart. It really is fall apart food. It's lovely. I'm not kidding you.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. Really good dish. Made in the Thermomix Tm6. So try to make it. Thanks again for your filming, Jack. And don't know what we're making next, but I'll see you soon for another video.
See you later.
See ya. Bye.